It is the last day of league play here at the HGC as we are setting up to figure out who exactly will go to the Crucible and who will stay in the playoffs. But before we get into it, with this being the last day, Calidor, I got to ask you, and of course our viewers at home, what was your favorite memory the last couple months here at Phase 2?
Mid-season Brawl Finals.
Yeah, Fnatic?
Yeah. Fnatic versus Dignitas. After we had the series already in the winner bracket final, having it again in the grand final was pretty awesome.
I think I have two. I'm going to cheat. I have Zealots on day one coming out and beating the playing Ducks. We had a new team come in and show that they were ready to compete, which is very exciting to me. And then Horus Camp. You can't go wrong with Horus Camp. I don't know. What about you guys at home? Let us know with HGC. Hit us up at Heroes Esports. Let us know what your favorite memory was for the last couple months. It could be any region. It could be Europe. We don't care. We just love talking about what we saw for the last couple months. Now, let's go ahead and look at the standings.
I love what you did there.
What do we do?
It can be any region.
It can be any region.
It can be Europe.
You put in the last one there. It makes people think about it. It's a psychology thing. So let's go look at the standings right now. 100% Team Good Guys are going to the Crucible no matter what. But they will be facing off today against the Zealots, and they have a chance here to help the playing Ducks stay in a spot where they don't fall in.
Exactly. So as you can see, we have potential three-way ties, potential four-way ties, depending on if the playing Ducks win their series or if they lose, and the same goes for Zealot. Here's the bottom line. All of that doesn't matter. It only matters if the Ducks win against Fnatic and the Zealots lose. It means that the Zealots drop into the Crucible and the Ducks make it into the playoffs. If, on the other hand, both of the teams win or both of the teams lose, then or Zealots win and the Ducks lose, it all means the same thing. The Ducks would be confirmed for the Crucible. Reason is actually quite simple. We're going to talk about this today quite a bit, I would say. But overall, when we are having any kind of tie in the system, the first thing that we're, of course, going to look at are the matches. If the matches are tied, our second point of focus, if it is a two-way tie, would be what is the score between the two teams. Only win or loss, map score doesn't matter. Only who won and who lost the two times that the teams faced off against each other during a phase, so part 1, part 2. If there's a tie in that as well, then next we're going to look at the map score. If the map score is also tied, then we're looking at how many 3-0s were won by each team, and if that's the same, how many 3-1s did the teams accomplish, and how many 3-2s. The main problem here with any kind of four-way or three-way tie that we encounter is that once we are going down to the 3-0s, it's very, very clear who dominates there. We have Team Liquid and then Trick pretty high up. We have the Zealots with a couple of 3-0s, or the Season 3 actually, so far. And we have not had any for the Ducks. That means even if the Ducks 3-0 Fnatic, it doesn't matter. It doesn't help them because the other teams all have a better score out there if it all comes down to the 3-0s. So no matter how many ties we have, results always the same. The Ducks need to win, the Zealots need to lose for the Ducks to make it out of the Crucible spot.
So all said and done, Calidor went through all that mumbo-jumbo, hooking you guys up with information, but Zealots coming in and win. Let's get that done here. Let's go and look at the standings here and see if that will happen with our matches that are going to be occurring. Zealots and Team Good Guys will be the first team facing off, as that will be our first matchup. Now afterwards, Fnatic and the playing Ducks. So again, what happens in Series number 1 does affect what happens in Series number 2.
Sorry, again?
If Zealots win here, the playing Ducks, it's over.
Exactly.
But if they lose, the playing Ducks have a chance here.
Exactly.
To move forward.
So if the Zealots take it here today, then it's all over already. Then we're going to have a bit of a show match later on between Fnatic and the playing Ducks. And that's basically it. Of course, we have a couple of North America games as well later on today, with Even in Death going up against Lag Force and Temposom facing off last but not least against Team Freedom.
Great matches for North America. Still have to shout out Roll20, man. 21-1, I believe, for the second part of Phase 2. Absolutely killing it. Shout out to those guys. It kind of hurts that their one loss was against Even in Death, but hey, man, they got it done. They played really well, and I look forward to seeing them at BlizzCon, especially, hopefully, the matchup Fnatic versus Roll20. Whew, some point. Let's go ahead and focus on this match.
Give them a chance, at least.
I want to see that. I mean, number 1 seed versus number 1 seed, that's pretty cool in my book. But
okay.
He doesn't even have a chance here. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
You set them up against Fnatic. If you are saying against a third, second seed, then yeah, maybe. But like against Fnatic, I would be blown out of the waters if that would actually be possible, that Roll20 takes down Fnatic, who has currently an insane... I mean, there's 6...
I'm not saying they're taking him down. I just want to see it.
Oh, you want to see
I just want to see the matchup.
Okay,
That's it. I'm not saying they're going to take him down. Whoa,
right.
whoa.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
Whoa.
My mistake, I apologize.
Zealots versus GG happening here. Let's go ahead and listen to our players who are going to talk about the match.
With Mopsia coming back, we just started screaming again, and we're doing fairly good, so we feel fairly confident as well against TGG this upcoming week. Team TGG certainly has some strengths in their team, but if we play just our game, we should be able to beat them and just avoid Crucible fully with it. I believe there's no real target player in TGG. I think we should just go and win drafts and we should be fine.
So obviously we are, as a team, we're struggling at the moment, but we're trying to adjust to each other more within the draft and the game. I think at the start of the season we were actually doing fine, but throughout the season and losses we had to encounter just made things complicated and hard to resolve. I think winning this match would actually help us with boosting our confidence and also morale. So yeah, going against Team Zealots, we'll still do our best, but we'll try to take it more as a practice and preparation for a Crucible match.
This match will be a story of the main tanks. Mopsio is back. Last week we had Lauber coming in instead, with Mopsio having some misconduct outside of game. He was unable to play here in the HGC as his account was banned. But now with him back, Zealot's back to full fruition as they normally would be. But on the other side, you see BKB and Anti-Hero, they keep switching off on who the main tank is based on what heroes they draft, which has been something they've been trying to push through the last few weeks.
Exactly. So we're of course going to look at the Zealots again, as we just heard. For TGG, it's more so trying to get the confidence also for the Crucible match that they will definitely have to play. They're trying to currently prepare for that as much as they can. But for the Zealots, there's still a lot on the line here. The team came into the season and was aiming high. And at this point, the last weekend was of course a bit of a setback for them. But they are all about, first of all, making sure that they're not dropping into the Crucible. But we've heard so many teams even talk about them potentially making it through the playoffs, since they look really strong these days.
We'll see if they do that here. Let's go ahead and check out the cheers for both of our teams and see where our individual cheers are ranking our current members. Right now, Snitch is at the very top still here with 17,000 for the Zealots as he continues to cheer for them.
Yeah, he jumped up higher, right? Like
I think
they
he was third
overtook it.
place.
Yeah, I think it was third place too. So Snitch just going in with the support here. And then we have the good guys with Search Master D and Stoffel all the way up at the top.
Going all the way down to 4,300. So the cheers continually come in. Thank you so much for the support for both of your teams as we get ready for this best of 5 series. Let's start it here. Game number 1. The battleground choice will be on the Zealot side, and they will pick Dragonshire, which is their bread and butter. They love this battleground.
Yeah, we have also bans on Braxis and on our good old nuke map, so we're not going to see any kind of new records being set here for that. But yeah, with Braxis also being banned out, so we're not going to get the 2-lane map either, at least outside of Battlefield of Eternity. But Dragonshire being the first one, it's of course once again super important that you make sure you have both of those shrines. It's like the map that requires the most control out of the teams.
Yeah. You got to make sure that you have your communications up when you're on a different side of the battleground, trying to grab those shrines, moving for the dragon. You have to capitalize on kills. If you get 1 or 2 pickups, being able to spread yourself out on the battleground is definitely a skill that a lot of teams don't have as feigned out as we have here from the Zealots. Let's move into it. Dragonshire being the battleground, time to bring out the bans.
All right, so we're coming down to the nitty-gritty here. Zealots, they not necessarily need to win this series, but a win would go a long way to make sure that they are not dropping into the Crucible and that they would be confirmed for the playoffs, which is of course where they want to be. Taking down the good guys is something that they're striving for right now, and it is one of those games where there's a lot of pressure on them, and in the past a lot of the players on the lineup of the Zealots have cracked a little bit under pressure, so that's something they have to deal with right now.
Yeah, them winning this series would have them in the driver's seat. If they lose, that means they pass the wheel over to Fnatic. Fnatic has to get the win right over the playing Ducks. So if they want to be the ones to control their destiny, getting the victory here is great.
Yeah.
Team Good Guys will ban out Chromie. Chromie has become very popular on this battleground. She's safe on that bottom lane, pokes heavily, and eventually we'll get those stacks nice and acclimated. We're going to get a few of them in there, and you'll really burn through people.
80 stacks still. We're currently still sitting at the pre-patch Chromie, so the current live version is slightly different. Chromie has seen a few adjustments there, can complete the quest even faster. And it's currently the case, so keep that in mind when we're heading into the game. Kel'Thuzad, on the other hand, is allowed, but so far most of the European teams have not relied upon him. We've actually seen him played by Mena. Outside of that, not really a whole lot of Kel'Thuzad play yet.
Could see him played here. The way people spread out could be great for Kel'Thuzad. You wouldn't be able to get as many fights that are happening in the early game at least, so you can get your quest finished up, you're able to get the engages that you want. Wouldn't be too shabby here, but my main issue is the rotations. Kel'Thuzad does seem pretty vulnerable when he's moving between a middle and a bottom lane, which is where you probably will have a weakness from him.
Yeah, he does currently not really have a huge pick rate, and of course that's also pre-patch once again, where he got even nerfed. So the main concern of most of the teams is that he is incredibly vulnerable to any kind of mobility heroes, but also to nukes. So at this point, we have our first pick, and it's the global play that the Zealots are advocating here, making sure that they get the Haka and Rega in. Rega has made it all the way up to the top of the standings in terms of supports. Team Good Guys still opted for Uther as their first pick, and now Rega immediately taken. And with the Haka, there's now global play available to the Zealots, which the Good Guys could mirror with an early ETC pick here.
Might even see some Leo from them as well. Dahaka for the last couple weeks has started to fall off a little bit in terms of pick rate unless you're on the bigger battlegrounds, but Zealots, they love their Dahaka and their Sonya because of Zarmony. So we're going to have that mix up right away. Team Good Guys now will answer back. We'll see if we get that ETC. If it's not so, Team Good Guys wouldn't mind running ETC as a main tank too. They've ran it a lot in the past, so it wouldn't be a bad pickup at all.
ETC and Genji is very common when you have Uther as an early pick, and that's exactly what we're seeing here from them. Again, the Divine Shield helps with a potential mosh pit if you don't go into stage dive, if you are okay running ETC as the main tank here. And of course the Dragon Blade is always heavily extended by having a Divine Shield as well. It just helps you with those invulnerability frames.
Arthas being hovered, a common pick as of late from Antihero. For the flanking, but also for just controlling that top lane, which he can be pretty strong in. Does okay against Dahaka too, being able to clear out those waves. Not a bad ban here from Zealots if you want to make sure that you target the good guys and get rid of a strength that they have.
Yeah, Arthas would have been, like we've seen the Arthas and ETC combo actually a couple of times, and one of the things that it does for you is a lot of control at the front line, and also you have oftentimes Arthas at the beginning of the game as the solo laner, ETC trying to provide kills with the rest of the team and setting up stuns, and then later after level 10, after you're trying to mirror Dahaka's movements with the stage dive, a rotation happens and Arthas joins the rest of the team as the main tank for the time being, whereas ETC is going onto the solo lane to make sure that he can mirror Dahaka with whatever he does. So that combo is a pretty popular one, and especially the Good Guys have been running it quite a bit, so Zealots definitely doing their homework here and making sure that they are shutting the Arthas ETC combo off.
Wondering if we might see a Johanna ban here. She's been pretty decent against ETC, good on Dragon Chair if you want to move between the different lanes. Instead, we're going to see that Grey main come out.
Resets is another thing that you have to at least consider at this point. Johanna already taken. The question is, are we going to see Li Ming, for example, on the side of the Good Guys so that they have the double resets here? Zealots also still in need of damage. And we have also the hero for Shat that has not been taken yet. And this is a map where we occasionally see plays around an Abathur by them. We have even seen, like, way in the past, some Vikings play. So there are always a couple of options for a bit of a curveball from the Zealots, even though they're leaning way more towards the standard these days.
There's that Vala there, coming in from Poik. Gonna watch him as he tries to shred the opposing team. And it's actually an interesting point that you bring up. The Abathur still being up and available. I'm used to it being banned out by now on every single battleground when it comes to different series here. But Team Good Guys and Zealots so far have allowed him to slip all the way down to these bottom picks.
Europe definitely has a huge priority on banning out Abathur for sure. So he's still a potential pick on the side of the Zealots. You have a couple of good copies, and you also can, of course, always help out the Haka even more if you want to pick him. Still not quite sure if he would commit to that. Genji can be a bit of a pain against him on any map. But overall, let's see what the Good Guys are gonna run. Still very likely that they're heading into a second tank. We could now they have to make the choice. Do they want to have ETC up at that lane against the Haka with the global, or do they just run a different solo laner and say that they don't care at the beginning of the game? Then they could head into Malthael, into Leoric, into Sonya, into all these solo laners that we've been talking about.
Both Leo and Sonya can be pretty decent against Johanna, being able to chunk that front line and make her back up. Also great for that solo lane against the Dahaka. Here's a Kel'Thas, and there is that Leoric. So we have our wave clear with Kel'Thas, get some decent damage in too, enough to be a nuisance while Genji does his thing on the back line, and Leo to hold that top side.
And you have the stun combo. You have ETC with a power slide into Kel'Thas Gravity Lapse and an additional Uther stun to boot. So you have actually a fair amount of lockdown already on their end. And if they at any point get close enough to Rega to execute all of that, or even to Vala, then that could very well result in an easy kill. So it's definitely a strong comp that they have. And that also explains the pick on Kel'Thas here, which we see a bit more often these days, but most of the time it's on maps as, for example, Battlefield of Eternity, Tomb of the Spider Queen, where you have just smaller corridors where you can really bring his AoE into play.
You mentioned Abathur earlier, and I feel like I'm really sold on that Abathur train already here. You have 2 clones with the Vala, even the Rhaegar that you can pull off of the fights if you want to keep her alive. You can also make sure that your front tanks can be annoying. Gives you a good top lane as well, and with it being in Dragon Share, you can just push the limits. A little bit worrisome for the Vala in terms of protection, but hey, if you're able to handle that Genji, you should be alright.
You can add a second damage dealer too, but it's Abathur, as we said, like he just fits very well here. You have Dehaka that you can help out. Dehaka can always burrow on any part of the map. It was one of those picks where you know that Chat was at least thinking about it. They hesitated until the last moment. There's definitely other options that they have, but Abathur makes a lot of sense for them.
Just fits in them perfectly. I am worried though with the Vala being the only main source of damage until Ultimate Evolution comes on. Once Leoric finishes that 13 quest, or that 13 talent, being able to mitigate her damage, Vala, what's she gonna do in here? Having that one hyper carry and that being shut down by a decent amount of damage really does hurt your team fight.
I mean, Abathur alone already does a fair amount, so I wouldn't really be too worried about it since you have Rhaegar as a symbiote target and also you have Dehaka. So I think especially the early game could be rough for the opponent. I mean, traditionally the thought process is that Abathur compositions in the early stages suffer because you don't have the clone. But if you play it right with the global, you can put a lot of pressure on heroes that appear on the map. Let's say Kel'Thas, for example, at any point is outside of the healer range. You can simply move in with the Haka, have Abathur helping out, and all of a sudden he's under a lot of pressure and could even net you a kill. So there's a lot of potential for the Zealots to actually put pressure on, even in the early stages, with this Abathur composition that they're running, just because they have the advantage of the added global.
And that Rhaegar too being in there, being able to grab the Merc camps to add on that pressure that you were talking about. Let's watch this early game here from the Zealots. They have done such a good job on Dragonshire of making sure to get an early game advantage and control it. We see them sometimes even a level to 2 levels ahead of their opponent just by how well they rotate and by how well they actually get into the fights and grab the mercenary camps. Let's go ahead and move into it. It's going to be Dragonshire here for game number 1 in this best of 5 series. The Zealots taking on the good guys.
Game number 1, everybody. The Zealots going up against the good guys with Grand Paquetto and Rhaegar to the left side in blue. Mobsio for the Zealots with Johanna. We have Poik on the damage output with Vala. Zarmany again on the offlaner playing Dehaka for his team. And then last but not least, the Spaniard. It's Shat on Abathur.
Team Good Guys on the right. Raid Boss will be your Kel'Thas player. Anti-hero will be your Genji. Second time that we've seen that from him. Krona's playing Uther. Zay playing Leoric. And BKB will be your ETC.
Now, to sum the current situation up once again, we have at this point a fierce battle in the standings between the Zealots and the Playing Ducks. Both are playing today, and they're currently also at the same match score. So there are a couple of potential ties if both teams are able to win their series. The Playing Ducks have to go up against Fnatic later on, or if both of them lose. The bottom line is going to be always the same though. In order for the Playing Ducks to make it out of the Crucible spots and move into the playoffs and push the Zealots back down, the Zealots would have to lose the series against the good guys, and Fnatic would have to lose against the Playing Ducks. So in that scenario, the Zealots would move on up. So they have their own fate in their hands right now. If they are able to take the good guys down here today, it would mean that they are 100% not going into the Crucible, and they would instead be in the playoffs.
And the Zealots open up trying to be a bit cheeky here. They put up a little bush gank on the bottom right side, hoping to get into a fight with Mobsio constantly scouting out the good guys. The good guys rotating with 4 people though, were able to enter back, and they got a kill on Zarmany. Dehaka being killed right away, and it gives them a slight experience lead.
Yeah, that's definitely a good start for them, making sure that the global hero is already down. In the meantime, we have, of course, Dehaka up back to the top. But the good guys, definitely the team that is now currently here and trying to see if they can maybe win the series against the Zealots. And keep in mind, this is a direct competitor of the old days. These two teams made it through the Open Division straight into the Crucible. Both of them won their match, so they have faced off against each other like long before they were contenders in HGC. Right now, the good guys with 2-0 lead. And there's a lot of pressure on the Zealots right now.
Yeah.
You know that even if you lose here, you can hope for Fnatic to win the series against the Playing Ducks later on. But that is, of course, just a gamble you don't really want to take, even with how dominant Fnatic is these days. So there's a lot of pressure on the Zealots right now to win this. And they traditionally had some problems when there was a lot of pressure on their shoulders.
It's almost poetic. You're talking about them coming in here to the HGC, the first week being the new teams, and now they're going to finish the season facing each other. It's kind of interesting to look at it that way. And Team Good Guys so far have been the one to bring the fire in the early game. Anti-Hero is just sitting atop of Quake here, constantly putting pressure on him, but with 2 kills already, Team Good Guys control the bottom shrine, and they're doing a pretty solid job of keeping up with it.
The situation between the two teams has also changed a lot, because in the Open Division playoffs last season and then also in the Crucible, it was actually the Good Guys that at some point were the underdogs, and the Zealots were the Good Guys were the ones who actually won the direct comparison with the Zealots and were able to take them out, which allowed them to take their choice once they were heading into the Crucible from one of the HGC teams. And right now it's the exact opposite. It's the Zealots that are really the rising star here. And we see that playing out at the top lane, where Abathar is now putting his symbiote on the Haka and gets the kill against Leoric, and another one against Johanna follows. So the Good Guys, they reply in kind and have now a pretty significant lead in the kill count at least. 3-1 in their favor, but from an experience point of view, it's still fairly even.
Team Good Guys doing what they need to do here. Whenever you do have an Abathar on the opposing team, you're probably going to lose out on that top lane, but your 4-man needs to be aggressive. They need to make certain shot calls to either get kills or take away mercenary camps or put pressure on a turret. And so far, they've been doing it through kills, and they've gotten 3 so far. But the Zealots, again, with having the work in the top lane, they still have to worry about Team Good Guys constantly coming back and contesting that shrine. And what they've done is they've killed off Rhaegar to grab the mercenary camps in the top left to aid that push in the top.
Yeah, there's a couple of really cool aspects that are already coming into play here. So the solo lane is being won quite easily by the Haka, since Abathar can always help out. And the way that the Zealots are currently trying to mitigate the problem that early on in the game Abathar does not have the ultimate evolution as a copy tool is they help out Rhaegar with taking camps. Rhaegar alone is already fantastic at camp clearing, but if you have Abathar to assist him even, you can easily take those early night camps, and that's exactly what they're doing. This is why the top lane is now pushing so heavily. And as you just pointed out, Tim, the Good Guys, they have to react somehow, and that's where they're trying to get value out of their 4-man, pushing heavily down to the bottom of the map. The problem for them still being is they will give up on that mid lane, where Abathar has already positioned himself, and with the Toxic Nest focus that we are seeing from Shed, he can actually try to push that mid lane back as well.
Yep, this is the issue with the Team Good Guys 4-man, though. The Zealots have hit level 7, which means they're finally getting those Hungering Arrow stacks that are coming in there, which are helping them with the defense. If they're able to chunk down slightly on the Good Guys, they're able to slow them and deter them from the pushes. Good Guys still did great, though. They were able to grab both those turrets and get the experience, which is great for them, and now they're making a move for the shrine on the bottom side.
Yeah, so no, traditionally what we are seeing from other Abathar players, as for example ADRD, is to set up huge traps on the map with Toxic Nest. Shad is playing it a bit differently right now. He's just spreading them out across the map, making sure also that they have a lot of vision about the rotations that the Good Guys are using. That gives the Haka at the top lane a bit more safety, and the rest of the team as well. And it also, of course, slows these rotations down a bit. But for now, we're still having that fight over the 2 shrines, and none of the teams has really gotten a Dragon Knight yet. It's actually the Good Guys that get a slight advantage in experience right now, and start to aim for their own camp as well, which Mopsir could maybe even sniff out, but he doesn't double check. Instead, he just clears the mid wave.
Yep, their main goal is to get 10 here, and they're getting closer and closer towards that 10. And that's the point that we'll see a more aggressive Zealots, one that is looking for team fights, looking for those engagements, because they'll have that ultimate evolution available for them, and they can call upon Dahaka to rotate in and force a fight right away. Zay in the top lane, still having trouble. Mopsir even coming in to help out with the engage. Can't grab too much there, with Zay jumping behind, grabbing that well, he'll be just fine.
But the camp that was taken to the bot lane illustrates very nicely how fast you can take these camps if you have Rhaegar, Abathar, and an arrow-built Vala in your setup. They can easily move from camp to camp and within seconds take those. Monster Hunt on level 1 for Vala is fantastic. Having Abathar helping out Rhaegar with lightning shields, and of course the symbiote itself is absolutely perfect. And Zarmany is now being assisted up at the top, so Shed is really everywhere at this point, helping his teammates to claim camps, making sure that the top lane is not gonna be lost, and he's doing an exceptional amount of work. But the Good Guys, they're still responding in kind here, and they are holding on to this.
They're looking for a fight. They even bring Leoric down in the middle lane here. If they need him to, he can come in for the engage. Stage Dive being picked up by ETC instead, so we might see him peel off and head to the top lane, but with that Pinball Wizard instead of Echo Pedal, I'm assuming he might actually just stay as a front tank.
Oh, March of the Black King being used up over the top by Leoric. That was maybe a bit too soon here. Wasn't in that much trouble. try to make sure that he could get out of it, but in this case, I mean, there's no drag possible at that moment either. So Leoric survives, but sacrifices a cooldown. It's not a big one at that. Another 30 seconds and he's going to be fine again, so I don't think it's going to play a huge role. But we have BKB now at the top lane, thanks to the stage dive, so that rotation that we've been mentioning during the draft after level 10 has now happened. ETC is the one that will mirror Dehaka, since he now has the global ability.
Be a little hang up out there. Zealots will have Mopsio constantly moving between middle and top lane to try and grab ETC. Don't know if he'll get the kill there, but he can definitely help push the lane, clearing it out there with the Condemn, having Dehaka fall up into the Primal Swarm. Team Good Guys getting wind of this will open up and grab their Giants on the right side, but still, it's a dance of mercenary camps between our two teams, and so far, Zealots have started to edge out slightly as they keep getting the Night Camp to push top.
Yeah, when it comes to structure damage, they're definitely doing well. Now Mob still going straight for Xay here on Leoric. The drag connects. ETC is starting to jump in. Dragon Blade has been used. Divine Shield as well. A lot of cooldowns committed. If Zealots can walk away from this would be a victory for them already. Abathur commits his own ultimate evolution, but overall, there's a massive amount of cooldowns that was just committed. The resources the Good Guys spend just to avoid the death of Leoric here is crazy. Now we're having Dehaka moving in again, missing the tongue on Raid Boss though, but they are still looking fine here. So overall, Zealots in a decent spot, but they took a lot of damage at that bottom fort while that fight was raging on in the mid lane.
Just to give you a visual at home, 5 heroics are used by Team Good Guys, where only 1 was utilized by the Zealots, which was the Ultimate Evolution. They still have Strafe and Ancestor Healing. That's why they look for that engage right afterwards when the cooldowns were utilized. Now we will have March of the Black King back up in a few seconds, but still the big major one is that Divine Shield and of course that
Left
Save
shield.
Dive.
They go for Kronos. They're trying to stop him here. There's still Toxic Nests around, and that's the kill. Uther is down. Xay again moving out of the fight. But now keep also in mind that after level 13, Xay is going to have access to Ominous Wrath, and that is going to be a big tool for him to try and shut down Poik's damage, since he will have that damage reduction in there. So Poik needs to try and make sure that Xay is not getting an easy Wraith walk against him. Again, stage dive. BKB not hitting anything here, and Poik able to move out with Grand Paquette. Totem comes down to slow ETC a little bit further, even as we speak. And at the top lane, Dehaka has now taken control again as ETC just left.
Looking for the dragon, but with anti-hero on the side, not going to be able to go in for that full engage, but still, Team Good Guys keep utilizing these big heroics like Stage Dive going for a fight, and they're not getting much out of it, mostly because they're jumping on that Johanna, and Rhaegar is playing very safe. Grandpa is being very careful when it comes to his positioning.
I would actually have loved for Zaman to just simply stay at the top lane. He already had vision at the bottom, so they knew that they couldn't get the Dragonite here. If he would have pushed out that last wave that came in from minions on the side of the Good Guys, I think he could have done a significant amount of damage to the fort itself. Now the lane is still pushing in and that helps, but he could have even pushed this a lot harder. Getting the Dragonite by using the Global or trying to make it work was already doomed since we saw the channel happening at the bot lane shrine.
Zealots trying to force more fights here, hoping maybe they can get a few more heroics to be popped out before going in for an engage. With the Dragon being available, Dehaka's working out on the middle side, but BKB is nearby with the ETC. However, an isolation comes out into a Dragon. He will fall.
Great kill here. Zealots are starting to take a lead in experience for sure, and they are starting to also heavily pressure the structures on the map now. So at this point, 13 against 13, we are seeing both shrines under the control of the Good Guys. Attempted kill against Mopsio, but Johanna can easily walk out of this one. And to the top lane, Dehaka has taken control of the shrine again. With the help of Abathur, shouldn't really be a problem for him. Xay already on the back foot, making sure that he doesn't even engage into Dehaka. Still aims for the shrine though, a bit optimistic considering that Dehaka is still going to be assisted by the Slugger.
Well, the stage dive being available is probably the reason why he's going for it. They can maybe force a kill on him. Zarmi's playing safe, while the rest of Team Good Guys grab the bottom. With ETC back, stage dive is up, and here it is. BKB dives in. They find Grandpa. He gets hit here with a gravity lapse. He has been CC'd for the last 3 seconds. Still almost out of here. The swipe comes in from Anti. Barely gets away, but Anti goes in and says, nope, not going to happen. Gets the kill. BKB, however, taking damage.
Yeah, BKB moves out barely, and that would have been fantastic for the Zealots if they get the counter kill here, but that's not the case, so it's a very nice trade for the Good Guys, taking control over the bottom of the map. And in the meantime, we're having Dehaka finding some extra experience, but Johanna now dies too, and the Good Guys gain more and more momentum. So Dehaka is just trying to soak experience on the side to make sure that even that despite these few deaths, his team does not fall behind. But of course, at this point, it's likely that the Good Guys are going to eventually make a play for the top shrine and aim for Dragonite. We are 12 minutes in, and we haven't seen a Dragonite yet.
Now the control from both teams has been well. They've been keeping up with it as much as they can. We do have Dahaka in the middle working on that 16, but Team Good Guy is able to soak the lanes as well. We'll hit 16 at the same time. Neck and neck in terms of experience, and with Rhaegar back on the field, I don't see Team Good Guys getting that first dragon anytime soon.
The thing that is actually, for me personally, quite more important is how close these two teams are. If you think about the position that we've been in so far throughout the entire phase, where the Zealots have just excelled and the Good Guys struggled from game to game, it's still pretty impressive to see that the Good Guys are currently on this first map, just eye to eye with their opponent. And that highlights again how close the European scene is, even with the team that has been confirmed for the Crucible for such a long time. So at this point, 16 talents on both sides, Royal Focus for Leoric on 16. We have Abathur even speccing into some of his shield talents on 16 right now, making sure that with the adrenaline boost, he gets the movement speed, where he can also save a target quite easily. But it's definitely a fierce battle, and the one problem that the Zealots now have is that the Shrine control goes to the Good Guys, and they have a massive double camp pushing at the bot lane, so that is going to knock on the keep. So this is going to be a really difficult situation for the Zealots.
They're going to send Johanna and Abathur over to drop a couple of mines and try and clear it out. There we go, soaking experience too. So finally, they clear up that camp, but it did do a pretty decent amount of damage to that turret. Leo gets picked in the top lane with Dahaka moving in there, Vala and Rhaegar helping out.
If anything, the opposite should have happened. If anything, there should have been a gank against the Zealots. But with the defense by Johanna and Abathur at the bot lane, the Zealots were still able to find a kill at the top of the map. That was pretty impressive. And that now puts them very close to the kill count of their opponent. 4 kills against 5. Bit of a battle between Mopsio and BKB. But yeah, Zealots are actually fighting with dirty tricks here. Abathur is always ready to turn it into a 2 versus 1 more or less.
Team Good Guys attempt to turn it into a 3-on-1 with Mopsio. Mopsio able to sneak out. The level 16 talent you mentioned about Abathur, helping him to sneak away from the ETC. They grab Giants 2 to get that bottom lane pushing in, and are trying to evaluate where exactly the Team Good Guys are so they can keep moving around these shrines and keep getting value out of their Dahaka, who is just attempting to assist the top lane and can rotate in the middle if too many people stay on the bottom side for Team Good Guys.
And the pressure is definitely mounting up right now for the Good Guys. There's a back and forth on this map the entire time. So interrupt attempts already here in the middle, which means that the Good Guys had to abandon an attempt to go for the night camp at the same time. And while they're defending the mid lane, we have the Zealots pushing heavily at the bottom of the map, breaking through the entire wall here for now, which is of course another problem. Dahaka could still move into the middle and grab the Dragon Knight, but he's currently locked into a battle with Leoric up at the top, where they're fighting over the shrine again, and Zamani is recapturing this one. But the fight at the bot lane still raging on. There's the cleanse. Iron Skin should be up again in just a second. Mopsio trying to move out here. Blessed Shield comes in as they are trying to go for the kill, but the Divine Shield is already out. Phoenix is being used, but Raid Boss doesn't get any value here. ETC jumps in deep. Grand Paquette throws out the Ancestral before he's even caught, and the copy on Rhaegar helps now to keep everybody alive as they are trying to jump for the cow.
Incredible Ancestor healing there. Again, just dropping it off before ETC could stop him from hitting it. That means that Genji could not go in for the kill on the Vala. So Zealots are able to turn around this fight and deny the attempt at an engage from Team Good Guys. With him controlling the bottom shrine, already Dahaka is heading to the top, looking to control for the moment. With a kill on ETC, Zealots could make a swing here to possibly move in for the dragon. But again, not having that Abathur on the field can hurt them a little bit. Dahaka will have to sneak down first. Also
taking the fountain now, it takes a sustain on the lane away from the blue team, from the red team. So we are seeing the Zealots with quite a lot of good movements here. Leoric with a Wraith Walk is hitting Poik. Duration is over now, back to full damage on Vala. But they are still struggling to keep control over that second shrine down at the bottom. But the Dahaka gets the value the entire time. And the Zealots are starting to sneak in a slight advantage in experience.
They're even sneaking Dahaka in. They're looking for a full fight here with ETC not being up for 5 seconds. They go in, they get Ilze. They're going to get a tongue on top of the Kel'Thas as well. Kel'Thas gets burned down. Strafe is just melting Team Good Guys as their red health bars turn to black.
Really well done here by the Zealots. They get a triple kill and now they can move for the Dragon Knight. Well, they can't because BKB stage dived up to the top and is now claiming the shrine, so trying to play around the opponent. The problem is that Zarmany is already here. If he somehow gets a tongue in, that could have been the end, but instead he decides to go for the objective. And there's still pressure at the bot lane. 20 is also hit for the Zealots. They are really starting to gain a lot of momentum.
A slight delay, but still, the Zealots should be able to grab this dragon. Johanna runs to the middle. We'll grab it here with a full level lead and a dragon, a fort broken on the bottom side. Zealots can start to move in for a keep.
Yeah, they want the keep. They move straight to the bot lane. They don't even bother with the fort in the middle. They will have the Dahaka clear out the lane and then he can still move in and try and check this one out. But the push has definitely started. And once again, a reminder, tweet at us at Heroes Esports with the hashtag HGC what your favorite moment from HGC 2017 was. So let us know on Twitter, and we're going to go through those later, as we have once again the Zealots pushing heavily through that bot lane here on Dragonshire, our first map in the best of 5 series.
And they still have a half a level advantage over their opponent, looking to grab this keep. Mopsio's getting burned down on the dragon, but he doesn't mind here. He'll be able to pop out and beat Johanna right afterwards. Anti goes in for a little bit of a dash, hoping to get some more damage on that dragon and maybe get it killed off. Team Good Guys defend for now, but they do lose the keep.
Yeah, they lose the keep, and that's of course the big advantage you want to gain. Once that level 20 is hit by both teams, the advantages that you have early on in the match are more or less negated. It really comes down to how many keeps were you able to kill. And right now the Zealots have at least that bot lane continuously pushing, and of course with every single siege giant camp that they're taking later on, they will still increase the push power of those pushes. Besides that, we're now seeing, of course, in the mid lane, the fountain destroyed as well, more sustain taken away from the Good Guys. But with both teams on level 20, there's at least a fighting chance in 5 versus 5 situations for the red team.
That there are, and they're grouping up as a 5. In fact, they are invading the night camp on the left side with the stage dive to help out. They are looking to grab this camp. Gonna have Mopsio sitting out for now, drops a condemn, but eats the Phoenix from his team. At the same time, Dragonblade is swishing and slashing on the left side.
Great royal focus by Leoric, reducing Vala's damage significantly, just as she's also going in to pop Strafe. At the same time, Xay is about to fall. Shat not just able to commit the final blow, but they are close, and Poik trying to utilize the frost arrows, frost shot that he has on level 16 to get the extra range in. Mopsio still on the chase, needs to be a bit careful, but Abathar is there helping him out. Movement speed already triggered, and Vala going straight for the backline. Kalthas is down. Good kill by Poik. And they move in once again with a good slow against Kronos, as Zarmany is looking for the drag.
They're looking just to keep Team Good Guys here. There are catapults that are sneaking their way towards the core. And finally, when Team Good Guys get to Death Bridge, they're going to pull away and be able to finally go up and defend. But that gives the Zealots a chance here to grab the Knights and move in for the fort on the top side, again, opening up the map.
Yeah, they can move top side, they can go into the middle, wherever they please at this point. The bot lane had to be defended, and that's where the Good Guys are. They don't have Kalthas, so they can't really do a whole lot here. The fort is definitely going to fall, and that gives more map control over to the Zealots. Ideally, they will also start destroying the walls up to the top to further reduce the vision of their opponent. The Good Guys in particular have done a pretty good job about eliminating every single wall so that they reduce vision at the bot lane, for example. But overall, it's the Zealots that really have the advantage when it comes to structures.
And they have a small window, too, to make a play here for the Dragon. Not going to be able to grab it, but at least grabbing both shrines to keep Team Good Guys nice and clustered up as they look around for a pick opportunity. One of the things that Good Guys can do here is move in for a fight on Dahako, or they can fight this fight in the middle if they can get on top of Vala, but it's been very difficult with Mopsio just clearing the lane.
It's all about pressure right now, because there's a top lane and the bot lane pushing thanks to camps that have been taken. So as long as you keep the pressure on the objective, the Good Guys will have to respond to it, which means they cannot defend these lanes. This is why they're this heavily trying to fight right now, because they know they are going to run out of time eventually. They already start to peel Kalthas off as he moves down to the bot lane. There's 2 Siege Giants camps pushing in. BKB moved to the top with a stage dive, and while Raid Boss is defending, the top lane is still pushing. So on all ends, there's pressure on the Good Guys as they're losing the shield on the core, and the Zealots are just trying to play that to their advantage.
And I'm worried they used a little bit too much in that fight, using the Dragon Blade and the Divine Shield. I get that they had to force something, but they got nothing out of it. That Dragon Blade combo got a couple of swipes, but we saw Zealots pull back to their fort behind turret range. Genji can't chase that, so Stage Dive ETC goes top to delay for as long as they can.
I mean, the idea was clearly to try and get a kill and hope that they somehow can regain the control, but you're absolutely right, they didn't get a lot out of it. The top lane is still pressuring, and the loss of a second key would be devastating to them. Yahaka can, of course, also start moving on lanes again and then uses Global to rejoin. But there's already damage on the core of the Good Guys. They're down to 89%. Here comes the fight. Isolation being used. Ancestor goes through. Great play here as Yahaka is being saved. BKB is low and has to retreat. Kronos also in trouble, and Xay is about to fall. Leoric dead, and this could be the beginning of the end. Shat was already on the channel at the Dragon Knight. But then we saw Zarmany moving in, and Dehaka simply snacked Abathar away and said, like, nope, I'm going to be the DK for the day. And therefore we have them now moving to the bot lane where they are going to try and end the game.
The good news for Team Good Guys, they still have Stage Dive, and actually they use it here to look for a fight. They're trying to prevent this dragon from moving too far forward, but Zarmany says, hey, You're a cow, here's a foot. Kicks them away right to the middle lane, and they keep moving forward.
Foot to the face.
That's right, the best type of face. And here we go. Team Good Guys with 11% damage already on the core. Need to shred through the armor and start to look to get a kill here. They're going to use the Dragon Blade for defense. Anti-hero going in.
No way, Dragon Knight is way too powerful at this point. We're 22 minutes in. ETC is dead, and so is the core. The Good Guys losing game number 1 against the Zealots in the best of 5 series here at HGC Europe.
Zealots gained a win there. Seemed a little bit scary in the first couple of levels, but remember, with running it out of their composition, you're probably going to experience some losses here and there. And Team Good Guys, they capitalized. They had 3 kills before level 10, but afterwards, it seemed like Zealots just had a little bit too much control, and Dahaka and Mopsio in particular controlled that map while Poik just kept working in the Vala Hungering Arrows.
And of course, the Ducks are also currently probably watching this, and they are not quite happy with how this entire series started. Keep in mind, for the Ducks to actually make it out of the Crucible, the Zealots have to lose. That has to happen. And right now, the Zealots have taken the first win. They have taken the lead in the best of 5. Series is by no means over, but this is not quite the start that the Ducks were hoping for.
Nope, certainly not. Even last week, though, listening to the Ducks, they seemed like they were defeated already. Talking to Chris on Wednesday when we were doing the interviews, it was interesting. I was like, all right, so what do you think about against Fnatic? And he goes, well, we're either going to 3-0 them or we're going to get 3-0'd. That's the only options we have here.
I mean, to be honest, for me, every time I talk to them, I just get the idea they're a little bit mad.
Yeah.
They're like just angry because they didn't figure out that Sport Billy on the tank would be the solution to all their problems. If you think about the entire way that Phase 2 has actually been run for them, they had problems in Phase 1 with their front line. They switched out Explosion and they got Eternal in. Now, Eternal is a great player, but he's not really a main tank. He's not the guy that you're sitting at your front line. That's not where he excels. That's not really his role. So they just put Nanda into the frontline position, and he's gotten better and better in the tank role, but never really to the extent where they said, okay, this is the perfect solution here. And they were just trying to figure out, okay, how do we do this? We should have way better results. Our scrims are looking good. Maybe it's a problem with our attitude. Maybe it's a problem with the confidence that we have. And then they switched that one flip where they all of a sudden put Sport Billy into the tank role, and things just click and they work out. And it just might have been a week too late. I talked to Team Liquid also about it. And because Liquid also said, well, Ducks are looking super strong right now, and it's actually a bit of a shame that they are in that spot in the first place. And I just mentioned, can you imagine if they figured it out 1 week earlier, and everybody that was in the con started immediately laughing and was just like, nope,
No.
thanks, no.
Because they
And I
would have
was
been
like,
against Team Liquid.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, what's wrong with you? And they're like, well, the week before they played against us, and they might have won the series, so we're pretty happy that they didn't figure it out back then. But yeah, so the Ducks later on against Fnatic, that's of course a different series, but they still need the Zealots to lose now.
And that's also scary for the Crucible teams that are coming in, too. You look at a team like the
Oh,
Ducks, who are currently on a hot streak, and you're like, wait a minute, we don't want to play against them, which means that first seed is even more important because you want to be able to choose not to play them.
It's so crazy because we have so many great so many great Open Division teams right now in Europe. The playoffs are starting, I think it's Monday, and we have leftovers, we have Bushido, we have like so many good teams over there. A couple of German teams as well with Schießeisen, for example, that have had pretty good results too.
Yeah.
And Blade is actually playing on that team. So we have a couple of teams that even feature former HGC players. And then when you look at it, 2 of them will go into the Crucible and can then challenge the HGC Crucible teams. And then you have the Ducks in there who all of a sudden look so scary when you're like, that's going to be a pretty rough battle no matter who is going to take them on. But
It's exciting. That's all it is. That's all you can do is brand Crucible as this is an exciting weekend, and we have to check it out.
And the last time, both of the Open Division teams won in the Crucible.
They did.
So the Zealots and
For
the
EU.
Good Guys. For Europe, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So both of the European Open Division teams won. Going to find out if that trend continues. But for now, of course, it's all about who is going to be in the Crucible.
Well, speaking about the Open Division playoffs, let's get you excited. Meet the teams here, as they'll be playing for your pleasure in the next couple weeks.
Zeratul is coming round. Ragnaros is interrupted. Zeratul does get Abatha. He's channeling the altar. No one's coming back to deal with him. That's going to be GG.
Just when you think you've given all you could, they want some more. Constantly combating conversations with connoisseurs. Cognac on deck, come on the night shift like the Commodores. 64 system outdated, so give this John applause. Them man are dinosaurs, they ain't dictating my future. I love the game, but everybody be rapping like future. Medusa mind state, I turn you to stone when I shoot a first. moving hectic.
My StarCraft heart pumps a little bit seeing the Duran brothers coming back here, and they could
Warcraft.
Warcraft. They've been around for a while, and
Yeah.
every game they've been in, they've been outstanding to watch.
Exactly. We have in the scene, we have so many good players here. And Bushido Esports, as we said before, pro players already in Warcraft 3, transitioning over to StarCraft 2, where some of the best in the Western scene. And now we are seeing them in Heroes of the Storm again. Very similar to Hazops, for example. Also a former Warcraft 3 pro that especially in the German leagues just absolutely dominated for a long, long time. Then coming into StarCraft 2 with also a spectacular career, and now being on Team Liquid, being just a staple of the Heroes of the Storm Europe community for a long, long time. So it's pretty impressive to see just the background of these players and how long they've already been playing. For Hazops, it's now 16 years.
Once a Blizzard